My name's Kendra Lodewick. It's nice to see everyone on tonight. I have 3 kids with type 1 who are now 20, 18, and 13. And we've been going to Gales Creek Camp for the last 15 years when our first and our oldest was first diagnosed. So we are all in it, and it's just a really impactful, amazing place. So for the campers that are returning, it's very exciting. And for the new campers and families that have yet to experience Gales Creek Camp, I am thrilled for all that you have before you. So I don't want to take any more time, but also here to answer questions or chime in as a parent.
Let's start with our camp directors, and then we'll get into our 2023 summer staff. So staff, if you can just say your name, your role at camp, and how many years you've been coming to camp, or if this is your first year, and we'll start with our amazing team of camp directors.
I can go first. I'm Minion. I'm one of the camp directors out there in the summers. I have been coming to camp for, oh my gosh, I was camper for 10 years, counselor for many years after that, and now camp director. So I will let Boo take it away.
I am Boo. I'm one of the camp directors, and I have been out there since I started working as a counselor in 2009, I think was my first year. So.
And my camp name is Gopher, also on the directing team. And I've been one of the directors since 2018 and was a counselor way back from 96 to 2000. So took a little break. Easy there, Boo. It's not that long ago. Took a little break and just came back and still love it. Let's go to, we want to introduce, we just had a little meeting with our 2023 staff, and we're super excited. The amazing, overly qualified staff that we have. So maybe if we help the families, let's start with our medical team. Bugs, you want to start us off?
I'm Bugs. This is my first year at camp, and I'm a nursing student, and I will be on the nursing staff this year. Then Nova.
Hi, I'm Nova. I'll be a nursing student on the medical staff as well. This will be my first year. And I think trying to look at the faces for, is it Sunflower? Were you also?
Yeah, my name is Sunflower. I will also be a first year nursing student on the medical staff.
We can go to T.
My name's T. I was a camper for 10 years, and this will be my second year working in the health house, and I'll pass it on to Peaches.
Hi, I'm Peaches. I will also be at the health house this year for my second year.
How about any staff? Any staff can hop on. We'll start calling people out. Kobos, go.
Hey everyone, my name is Kobos. This is going to be my 5th year on staff in some way, shape, or form after 14 years of being a camper. So I've been around since 2003. And yeah, I'm going to be in the East Cabin or the Gentleman's Cabin. So how about we go to Patches?
Hi, I'm Patches. This is my second year. This is my second year at camp. I'm very excited. I'm also going to be in the East Cabin, and I'm going to throw it over to my man String Bean.
Hi, my name is String Bean. This is my second year on staff, and I'm also going to be in the East Cabin, and I will pass it over to Aardvark.
Hey there, I'm Aardvark, and this is going to be my first summer as a camp counselor here. Man, I just met everyone. Squirrel, I think.
Hi, my name is Squirrel. I was a camper for 10 years and I CIT'd for 2 weeks last summer, and this is my first summer as a counselor. And I will pass it to Bumblebee.
Hi, I'm Bumblebee. I was a camper for 10 years, and this is my first year as a counselor. And I don't know who hasn't gone yet.
I can go. I'm Flamingo. I was a camper for many years. Don't remember how many. This is my second year on staff as a camp counselor, and I'll be in the West cabin. Star-Lord, I think, hasn't gone.
Yeah, I haven't yet. My name's Star-Lord. I've been going to camp since middle school, but this is my first year and I'm going to be on kitchen staff.
Hi, I'm Shortcake and this is my first year. I'll be the head cook and I'm excited about it.
Hi y'all, it's so good to see you guys. My name is Elmac and I will be in the kitchen, and then I'm super excited to spend a week as a CIT too. So I've been coming to camp since 2019 and this is my first year on staff.
Hi, my name is Sunny. I'll be the dietitian at camp and it's my first year here, so I'm really excited.
I'm Monkey. I've been going to camp for too long to count. Last year I did CIT and this year I'm a counselor for the whole summer.
Awesome. Well, we are here to answer your questions. So if you have questions or if your camper has questions, feel free to raise your physical hand or click on that button on Zoom that raises your hand for you. And we will answer anything that comes to mind. But I thought we would kick off while you're thinking, those gears are grinding, with having our camp directors who have all been at camp for so long, talk a little bit about their favorite part of camp. So you can hear a little bit of our insights. And I wanted to start. My favorite part of camp has changed many, many different times over the years. But as far as activities that we do at camp, my favorite is campfire. So every week that we're at camp, we do a weekly campfire and staff members get dressed up in crazy costumes. We do a ton of camp skits. We do a ton of camp songs. Usually we make a real campfire, but we are in a heavily wooded area. So sometimes the fire department is like, let's not right now because we don't want anything crazy to happen. But we do some fun things to make up for that as well. And then we always have a fun bedtime snack after campfire, sometimes s'mores, just depends on what the kitchen dreams up that week. So that is my favorite part. I just love that that's a part of camp when we all come together and kind of just get to enjoy where we are, be goofy, be silly, kind of break out of our comfort zone a little bit and get really loud and yell and scream songs all together. Minion, do you want to talk a little bit about your favorite part?
I'm so glad you called on me because I needed to go before Boo takes mine. My favorite part of camp is the camp dance. So once you hit that middle school, high school age range, we end every single week with a super awesome camp dance. Like we get a real DJ out there. And we just jam the night away dancing. So much fun. We dance so hard. We have to have a complimentary mandatory juice break in the middle so we don't go low. It is a blast. And it's also just a really special way for our campers who are either aging out of camp or, you know, in that high school, middle school age range to end their week all together, kind of as a unified group. So that is my favorite part. Oh, and we dress up and that's also super fun. And I'll give it to Boo so he can be upset with me that I took it from him.
You know, I was going to be upset, but then I don't think Kiwi specified that it has to be our favorite camp activity. My favorite part of camp is making really, really awesome friends. So s'mores are good. Camp dance is amazing. But since I started at camp, I have truly made my best friends in the whole entire world. And then I get to come back and hang out with them every summer. So that is my favorite part of camp. But if we're choosing activities, I love the pool. Gopher.
Yeah, all good answers. Yeah, you took some of mine. So I'm a PE teacher when I'm not out there. So I love any and all of our games that we play on the field and the court. That's some of my favorite things. And like Boo said, all the games are great, but really the people from our campers and the staff that we get to work with, that's why we're all there. So maybe a little Michael Scottish answer, but it's about the people.
Awesome. Kendra and Rob, I wonder if I could put you on the spot here a little bit. And if you could tell us what your favorite part about camp is from the parent perspective. So you heard about Kendra and her 3 campers, and I'll let Rob introduce himself as well. But he's our executive director and also a parent of a camper.
My name is Rob Daly. I am the executive director of the foundation. So I do the fundraising and the business side of camp. I help parents get registered, that kind of stuff, just all the boring stuff. I help hire all these people, which is one of my greatest pleasures. But my favorite, when you said that question, I immediately thought my favorite part of camp doesn't happen at camp. And then Boo kind of stole it. But my favorite part of camp is when my daughter, who is 15 now, she's been going to camp since she was 5. Whenever she is having a weird thing happen with her blood sugar or whatever, she's at 400 in the middle of the night for 2 hours, and she screenshots that and sends it to her friends that who she met at camp. Like, she sends it to them and she's like, look how crazy this is. This is so funny. And they send her pictures of their Dexcom that fell off the day they put it on or whatever. And they're just like, what's going on? This is stupid. I hate this. But that's what they do. When I see her do that, nobody understands it like another kid the same age who's growing up with diabetes. And that's what she gets from camp. She loves camp. She goes there. It's the whole thing. But it's the time and the off season when she just has this 365 support group that she sends messages to, phone calls, whatever. That's my favorite part of camp.
I would say all of the above, because really all of the above. But I guess for me, maybe that kind of is encapsulated by, like, the kids just get to go to summer camp. Like, they don't have, the parents don't have to worry because they're so well taken care of. They have this team of people who are supporting them, but also they not isolating them. They're not different than anybody else there. And I have the feeling that it's like diabetes is sort of like, it's for the kids, at least it's never out of sight, out of mind. For the staff, it's like front and center all the time, but it's like they're really just being kids, really just getting to have summer camp the way you want all kids to be able to enjoy. So that is, I think, is a really great gift. But I think what illustrates that, and my favorite, like, tangible part of camp, is when you drive in, when you're dropping the kids off, and they're like a subset of the counselors are in the driveway, like cheering the cars as they come in. And there's so much excitement and enthusiasm, and it just makes me feel, it makes me pumped up. It makes me pumped up for the week at camp, and like makes me feel like, these are all, like, these are our leaders, and that, look how righteous these councils are. It's really, you'll love it. You'll love it. It like really, it gets you in the mood. So that's one of my favorite parts, is the enthusiasm, the welcome to camp as you're driving up.
Awesome. That is so good to hear. Questions from you all. I see some campers on, some parents on. What's on your mind? Throw it at us.
No, you do not. For our campers, we provide all load treatment, sugar, food, snacks, most of your diabetes supplies, with exclusion of pump sets and Dexcoms. But no, you don't need to. It's going to be the easiest trip to pack for if you are someone who lives with someone who has type 1 diabetes. It's like the best place to go. So no, you do not need to bring any of the sugar. We would actually prefer it if you don't pack any food with your campers, and no gum as well, just because we have all of that stuff, and our doctors do an awesome job of managing all 60 campers' diabetes, that it's actually easier on us if you don't bring any of the sugar, because we know what we got, and we got good options, yummy options, juice, tabs, sometimes fruit snacks. It just depends on the day what we have at camp. But yeah, that's a really good question.
I will add on there a little pro tip. Don't forget to pack those things for the drive to and from camp. You don't have to pack it with your camper, but we don't want to send you home being like, oh no, what if he goes low on the, 55-minute drive? We've got to go back home. So make sure to bring those on check-in and check-out day, just so you're covered.
I am picky about my food too. So the good news is that every single meal, we have options for your camper. There's always options with carbs and also carb-free options. And then we always try and help as a staff. We plan out our meals. So when we plan out our meals with your camper, we'll do that based on carb counts before they get dosed for their insulin. So how many carbs are you having with this meal? We'll pick off of our menu. They'll dose for that. Then we'll go down and they'll pick up that food and get checked off with our dietitian, Sunny, to make sure that all the grams on their plan match up with all the grams on their tray. And then even if there's a meal where, maybe you're not super keen on pita pizzas, even though they're my favorite camp dinner, we eat snacks every 2 hours. So we always are eating. So there's always opportunities. If maybe you have a little bit of a lighter lunch, you only have half a sandwich instead of a full sandwich, and you don't get the chips on the side because you prefer Doritos and we only had Lay's, that's okay, because in 2 hours, we're going to have our afternoon snack before we go in the pool. And so we are always willing to work with campers. And I will tell you, sometimes a kind of a picky eater myself, I am never hungry at camp. There's always an option that I can find. Every lunch and dinner, we have a salad bar, and that's carb free. So I can go back and get as many carrot sticks as I want, because those are something that I will eat and I like. So we try and make sure that there are opportunities for every single camper. And anybody with dietary restrictions, our kitchen does an awesome job. Gluten-free and vegetarian and vegan. They've even convinced me to eat some of those things occasionally.
You definitely will. So you can actually find our packing list right now on our website. I'll actually, when I'm done chatting here, I'll drop the link into our chat here. But you will definitely get a packet in the mail. We call it our parent packet. It's going to get you all prepped for the week. That'll come about a week and a half before your camp session. So that gives you some time to pack and prepare. And it's a bit of a thick stack. So we try to lay everything out for you so you feel totally prepared before you get to camp. And one of those pages is a packing list.
Thank you. Yeah, we have so we have two large cabins. We've got our east cabin and our west cabin. You'll have to help me with exactly how many bunks are in each one, Kiwi or Minion or Boo. What are we at, like 30, 35, 36?
I think there's about 34 or something like that.
About 34. But it's all one. There's restrooms in there. They're sort of in bays where there's 4 kids sleeping on this side, 4 kids sleeping on this side, but it's basically one big dormitory. The 7 counselors or so are just in the same building, but behind a little curtain separates them, so they're able to hear. Kids are always able to walk back, knock on the door, get their blood sugar tested, or anything that they might need at any hour. We use our cabins obviously to sleep in, and then a little R&R time each day after lunch, where they're welcome to sit in there and read, or some kids choose to take a nap. They are fairly updated and new, nice and clean and insulated and heated if it gets too cool. And yeah, they're very, very comfortable and nice, and they're right in the heart of camp, close to everything.
Have an amazing medical staff who go through a very intensive training the week prior to us. We go to camp a week before we get any campers, and they are the experts in changing any sort of Omnipod, T-Slim pump slide, all of the things. They get a ton of training and prep in that. They're super organized, super efficient with it. So your camper doesn't even really miss out on much when they do have to do the change, right? They're quick, they're speedy. We love that. And our medical staff is also super, super awesome in helping campers learn and experience with maybe putting it on for them, like by themselves for the first time, right? They're super, super great teachers in that sense as well, but are also very supportive in the sense that knowing campers are comfortable with different limits of changing their pods or changing their pump sites or Dexcoms, and super accommodating to whatever the camper needs. So they go super smoothly. I'm always really impressed with our medical staff and how they handle all those, because unlike it used to be, there are many, many pump changes nowadays in a week of camp.
I'll also add on to that, Minion. We have at least 2 volunteer endocrinologists that come out every week. So we work with a lot of the local hospitals, and the amazing doctors volunteer their time to come out, stay at camp overnight. There's always a doc on call at night in case anything comes up at night. And they are just fantastic. Your kiddo will see them at every meal, and then at bedtime snack before they go to bed. So they get a lot of face time with that endo in case anything unexpected comes up. Great question. Rob, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we are piloting this program. There's a lot to this and you'll see when check-in time comes. There's a lot going on during check-in. So we have some problems to solve, but we are definitely piloting this program. We're getting some extra equipment, some like a Starlink internet that will support this entire network. We are guaranteeing we're trying this for high school, and that's our pilot. And our goal is to be able to do this with every age group. But we know that because high schoolers are the most independent with their pumps and their Dexcoms, and they can help us the most as far as getting all this data into the iPads and sharing and all that. So there's a lot to this that we've not tried before. So we're really optimistic that we're going to be able to really troubleshoot this during the high school weeks with some help of the high schoolers and all of our great staff, and then kind of move down the line. There is a chance, I just want to say, there is a chance that we may be rethinking it throughout the summer. We may be trying different things. We may be, so while we are definitely going to be doing this summer, it may not run as smooth as we all hope. We're just putting it out there right now. But it is inevitable. Let me tell you that. It is inevitable, and we'll have it down by next summer for sure.
Can we maybe just also mention like the other stuff that happens, so that like if we don't have our awesome iPad constant CGM monitoring, every camper gets their blood sugar checked before bed at midnight and at 3 a.m. on schedule. And then we also have counselors on call in the cabins with them, a nurse that's on call in the health house, and then like Huey mentioned, a provider that's on call that night. So every activity that we have an RN on duty available within our camp, so that there's always safeguards over all of those things. This fundraiser is just so that we have that CGM monitoring on the iPads, but we are able to test blood sugars and make sure everybody's in zone 24 hours a day out at camp. So
it's both. It's our medical committee, which is built up of a ton of our volunteer doctors and just really knowledgeable people in the diabetes world. They have a set of protocols that our staff is trained on, and they know it like so well and required to follow. So this is based on, what I'm saying is based on technically last summer's protocol. So as it evolves and it changes, right, there's always adjustments that we're making as we're learning and as technology is becoming better. There is within a certain range that we will accept the phone number as the number that we can bolus and treat for. If it is outside of that range, just because of air factors and that kind of stuff, we will finger poke. So if the camper is in that range, we're good to use that CGM number. In those certain cases that they maybe are too low outside of that range or a little bit high outside of that range, we will do a finger poke. So it's a little bit of both system, just because as that range changes, right? We just want to make sure that we are doing what's best for your camper. And so that's why we rely on the finger poke when that happens.
Hey, it answered to the first half of the question is yes, we let the kids have their phones. In fact, we have really cool little spy belts that we can give them in it, and they can hold their phone with them. But the number two is, even when we get this technology, we are going to unshare the parents. And as a parent myself, I know this is not going to be easy to hear, but it's important to understand that with 60 kids on site and a lot of different following going on, it would be a little disruptive to camp if parents were, you might see a number that you're like, oh my gosh, my kid's about to go low and I better call camp. But we're watching it and we'll have it. We got it under control. And you can imagine some parents might be like, let me just make a quick phone call. We're going to try to avoid that. We're following best practices from the National Diabetes Education and Camping Association, which the other camps have tried this before as well. And the biggest takeaway that we have been told over and over is make sure you unshare the parents, because it gets a little messy if you start getting a lot of parent input through all of this sharing. So the first thing we're going to do is unshare the parents from those accounts, and then we're going to share our staff.
Yes, that is such a good question. And that is not unheard of at all. We have kids every single week who are super nervous. I still remember when I first came to camp as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, I was absolutely terrified. I did not want to be there. I cried when my parents dropped me off. But we are more than prepared for that. So that's actually one of the things that our staff gets trained on during that week before any kids show up to camp, is how to make kids feel comfortable at camp, how to be prepared for that sort of a thing. And I don't know, maybe Boo, if you want to talk a little bit more about the details of what the staff gets trained on. But I can assure you that you are by far not the only one that feels that way.
I don't know if you were on earlier when all of our staff introduced themselves and how many said former camper for 10 years, camper for more years than I can remember. And I can tell you, since I was a lot of their counselor, a lot of them were really nervous about camp on their first year. So as far as like training goes, I'm an educator in the off season, as is Gopher and Minion. We bring in a lot of guests to kind of help us and support us. But a lot of us have worked, I think actually between the three of us, we've all worked at all three levels of education: elementary, high school, and middle school. We have experience in special education. We have experience in all the social emotional learning stuff that schools are dealing with and working with. Part of our guests, we have graduation coaches that are going to come in and work with us. We have counselors that are going to come in and work with us. We have our mental wellness specialists that are going to come in and work with us. And on top of all that extra training and those experts that are coming out, our staff is made up of about 50% is our goal of type 1 staff. And typically those type 1 staff are coming from former campers. So they've experienced those things. And that's something that like I wasn't a camper. So like, I can't speak to that as like, I let them be the experts in that and working with those kids. Our number one job as a staff is to connect with your camper and help them connect with other campers. And that's the most powerful, reassuring thing for any kid, is when they find a friend. And then once they find that friend, either on staff or that friend that's another camper in the bunk next to them, they never want to leave and they keep coming back until they're a director. So as far as like I don't want to say there's one prescription for every kid because there isn't, obviously, but I will tell you, out of my every year I've been out at camp, if a camper stays with us for that first night, usually that is all we need to show them that they're about to have the best week of their life every summer. I don't know, I don't want to sound too overconfident, but we all feel so passionately about camp and the positive impact it has on your kid, and the friendship that they'll make, that if we can get them out there, I feel like we will put those anxieties at ease a little bit, and just let them have the most fun. And I think camp cleanup day and open house is a great opportunity for those campers to come and check it out, meet some staff face to face, walk around, see everything, and really get excited for their week. But we're always open to, reach out to the office and we can put you in touch with people that are current campers, or staff members or former staff members, or all those things. Anything we can do to help get kids at camp, just because we know it's so important.
I just want to add one thing as a parent, that I think one of the reasons that I think that they can manage or attend to different kids' nervousness or concerns, or wherever they are on the continuum so well, is because the staff are really, they all share this enthusiasm and passion and care for kids, but they're all they have very different personalities, and I feel like they do a really good job of sort of moderating the interactions and care based on what the kid needs. So it's not like everybody's amped up to an 11 all the time. They might feel that internally, but they know when to dial it back if the kids need something, calmer or quieter. I just feel like it's a very responsive environment. And I think that really helps for any kids that happen to be nervous or anxious going into it, because they make space for that, but kind of integrate them into the fold in in almost like behind the scenes, like they don't even know it's happening, but all of a sudden, they're part of the community. So there's a lot of different personalities to meet any kid's personality where they're at.
Yeah, Kendra, I was about to say something very similar. Throughout the week, we're very intentional about talking about how the week is going for certain kids and rallying around those kids who may have been anxious on the first couple of days, and keeping tabs on where they are, or the kid who's starting to feel homesick on Wednesday or Thursday, and just being intentional and having a plan, and making sure that our staff is communicating and touching base, and like Boo said, making sure we have connections with every kid throughout the week, and that kids go home with connections from campers, like Rob was talking about with his daughter.
Yeah, sure. Bedtime, I will say one of the great things about camp is we're so busy, and it's so much fun that a lot of our campers, when they get to bed, they just zonk out. Makes it a little bit easier to put 34 kids to bed at once. But our routines pretty much are the same every single night. So the kids will have their bedtime snack is the last thing they'll do in their evening before they get ready to bed. One of the things our staff emphasize while they're eating that bedtime snack is kind of starting to calm their bodies, get themselves ready to get in that state to go into the cabin and go to bed, because we know that our energy is here all day, that it is hard to, get your body when you're a little person to get it back and ready for bed. We totally get that. So that's one of the things our staff do that is super awesome, is kind of just while they're eating that snack, bring voices down, calm bodies, that kind of great stuff. And then we have the campers obviously go to the cabin, change into their pajamas. They'll walk to the bathroom to brush their teeth and all of that good stuff. And then they'll head back to the cabin, where a lot of times, depending on the age of your camper, our staff will be in the cabin. Either a lot of times they read a book before bed. So campers can lay in their bunks, kind of resting, getting ready for bed while one of their counselors reads them an awesome book. There's also always like, gosh, 4 or 5 counselors in there just supporting kids as they need with those bedtime routines. Sometimes they play some like soft, quiet music or any of those things, just walking around, dimming the lights, that things to help them, make them be successful. We follow pretty much the same exact bedtime routine every single night. So I feel like after the first night or two, the kids, you know, quickly transition into what a bedtime routine at camp looks like. Younger kids, we remind them to go to the bathroom before they go to bed, all of that kind of good stuff. So our staff is super awesome in really creating that calm environment that makes it so campers can actually fall asleep. The other thing is too, is I know a lot of times in the cabins, the counselors with some kids, if they're having a harder time falling asleep, we have books with like a little tiny headlamp that they can read in their bunks, or sometimes campers will write a note back to home in their bunks as they're getting ready to go to sleep. So that's kind of what our bedtime routine looks like. Like I said, our staff are super awesome in supporting any campers that maybe are struggling with that bedtime routine or feeling a little homesick or just need a little extra time to fall asleep, because I totally get it. Sometimes our bodies are going so fast at camp that you're either going to fall asleep or it takes you a little bit to calm down and be ready for bed.
To close us out, I wonder, and again, this is putting you on the spot a little bit, but Kendra, I was wondering if you had any, you've done this 3 times, right? With one camper still coming to camp. Do you have any pro tips for parents as they prepare for camp?
That's a great question. I will say the pro tip that I have is to, this is going to sound like trust the system. And I guess what I mean by that is this is a really safe opportunity for especially parents of newly diagnosed kids or kids that are young to sort of hand over some of the control that you normally have to manage day in and day out to professionals. And I would say, and that's a really good, it's a really good starting place for that transition that will happen over time as your kids get older and start to, you know, expand their range, if you will. And so I think you should kind of lean into that and enjoy that as much as you can, because they are so well taken care of. It really is, they really are professionals. I mean, you have medical staff, they're medical staff, highly trained counselors. You couldn't have more kind of lines of backup. And so it gives you an opportunity to I guess experience that happening successfully and have a few nights off, frankly, of that's something we didn't quite get, because even when one of our kids was at camp, the other ones we were still counting carbs at home, but you get a little bit of a break from it too. And so that's not really a pro tip, but I just think that it's a nice upside of camp. And there's and if you have, once you have the experience, I encourage all families who haven't been, to go to the open house, because it's an opportunity to start to feel comfortable kind of with the staff, with the protocols, with the environment. And I think it will put you at ease. And I think even just the check-in process is very, very comforting, and take as much time as you need. And you'll see the endocrinologists that are going to be there the whole week. You know, it's not every other night that there's an endocrinologist at, you know, your child's arm length. So I think in terms of that, it's nice to be able to relax on that and lean into it. And then I think just like really dive into the experiences your kids are having as kids. And so when they come home, find out all about like what their favorite activities were and what summer camp was like and what were the counselors like and who they meet. And, you know, yeah, focus on the kid.